So everyone at some point feels misunderstood. It happens in friendships, relationships, families, and at work. Feeling misunderstood can create loneliness, and sometimes people can withdraw instead of explaining themselves. And today I would like to have this discussion with Jared. And he's a friend of mine. We've been friends for about 5 years.
Hey guys, been
And,
quite some time, yeah.
and we've had several conversations on this very topic.
So we're probably hundreds, honestly, a lot. And that's all we do whenever we're around each other, just talk about random things that are very important to a lot of people. Sometimes not to us, a lot of times to us. Yeah, we just understand in a different type of way, so we have a different type of communication. Yeah, so that's why I'm here.
And it's great
to conversate.
And him and I have conversations that just flow so greatly, and that's why I asked him to be on an episode with me, because he brings deeper thoughts out of me, and I think I help him as well with bringing deeper thoughts out of him. And we've both been through stuff, but he doesn't want to talk about his stuff, and that's okay.
Hey, I don't mind talking about my stuff. I just, yeah, I guess I don't know. I understand, and I'm not opposed to other people's opinions. So, I mean, it does make me a good candidate for this. What is it, the blog? But I've never done anything like this before, so hopefully it doesn't just all the cameras and the lights and doesn't sketch out the fluidity of my speaking. But it'd be all right though. We'll get down dirty with it.
Ways. And I think one of the biggest ways is not everybody has the same concept or definition in their mind of what a word means.
Yeah.
And
yeah, and that's kind of the whole point of American conversation. It's I say it's the hardest language to learn, because there is multiple, I guess, understandings of what a word really means.
Right.
And so we're putting a different thought to that word. So it does make sense, and it's a great topic, and I'm excited to get into it.
Well, so like most of the time, I find that I'm not actually fighting or arguing about a point. It turns out to be a word.
Yeah.
Like, so my most recent misunderstanding is, I was talking to someone and they were saying they were numb, and I was saying it was more like a sensitivity thing, and we were arguing over that. And really, the word that both of us should have been using is desensitized to certain things. But I was offended that he was using numb, and he was offended I was saying sensitive.
Yeah. Well, I can understand that, the word sensitive. I can understand that because I don't want to be called sensitive. You know what I mean? In a lot of ways, I mean, I guess that's just pride, maybe, because I could be a pretty sensitive guy, and everybody has a sensitive side to them. But when it comes to a conversation, and maybe an argumentation, or just even trying to get points back and forth across, somebody's going to get prideful, or maybe their walls are going to go up and get offended because they hear the word sensitive, whereas it means the same thing, but the terminology that you use could certainly offend somebody and make their walls go up, and it be detrimental to the conversation and trying to actually find a common ground.
Oh, most definitely. And it wasn't until he's great. It wasn't until he actually said, "What do you mean when you say sensitive?" that we worked out our problem of what we were trying to get across.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people do that enough. They don't take the time to try to understand what the other person is trying to say. And I do that, not intentionally. I just get something said in my head, and I'm like, this is how it is. And nothing's going to change my mind.
So I think that there's a major point when it comes to that. In my mind, what I'm trying to think of here is that I think that people are so overwhelmed with trying to get their opinion and put across that they feel like they have to rush it out, because in the conversations that we have, I know from personal experience and listening to others, that there's a lot of cutting off back and forth, and we don't even realize we're doing it, but it's just part of our culture, I guess, we feel like we have to get out what we're trying to say on our side of the opinion so quickly, all in one big soundbite, one at one time. That way, we understand that they heard what we had to say, and we feel like we have to hurry before we get cut off. Otherwise, we get cut off. And so, in doing such, we don't give ourselves time to really to say what we need the way we need to say it because we're afraid that we'll never get it out in that manner.
Well, if I'm being honest, when I do that, I think it's to cut off your thought and make me believe mine.
And so it can, and really, I think that's part of it is that people adapt these, I guess, manipulation tactics. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that goes into a whole nother tagline podcast.
Manipulation.
Yeah, manipulation, and really manipulative behavior is absolutely normal, and it's not just a bad thing. It's like we manipulate everything around us. All the way to the conversations that we have. And so I think that's a big factor is intention. What's your intent? And I think it comes down to being open-minded. You have to be open-minded, and you have to want to know what the opposite person is trying to say. If you don't care about their opinion, if you don't care what they have to say, and you're setting your mind, and you don't change your opinion, then it really doesn't matter. The conversation no longer even matters.
Right.
And you're only conversating to try to manipulate a situation to benefit yourself, and you're doing it at the mental fortitude of the person that you're conversating with.
Yeah. And it does drive them crazy when they're like, why do you keep saying the same thing? I'm saying it because you're not hearing me, or you're not understanding me, or you don't care. And I feel like I need you to,
For sure.
And so when somebody's repeating something, it's generally because they feel misunderstood, not heard, or like they can't get their point across.
And I think that,
And out of exhaustion, it becomes an argument.
yeah, for sure. And it starts weighing on you even more because then there's alternative reasons to be upset and resentments to build. But I think it's also part of the person who's listening. It's their job to indicate that they have absorbed what you're saying. And so there's a lot of people that will like recluse their thoughts inside. They're not very outwardly thinking. And there's people that extreme opposite. And if somebody doesn't acknowledge what you're trying to say,
even if they don't agree,
even if they don't agree, it's very. You need to acknowledge what has been said to you, and then
express
your opinion, not over or under, but alongside the views of the person that's trying to explain. Like, for example, like I say, I really like this camera because this camera is a 4K camera. You know what I mean? It is,
right.
Or whatever details, and then like you absorb what I'm saying, you hear what I'm saying.
And I can say I disagree because I don't want to be that clear.
Or in the opposite way, I can say, oh well, it's a 4K camera, but what good is that whenever it's not broadcasting or it's not recording in 4K?
Right.
It's like amplifiers, and you buy them from the store. It says like, oh, yeah, 2,500 watts, but that's like a dynamic power. It's not like an RMS power. I'm not getting into all that. But anyway, there's a lot of things that I think that would be really good to have people understand before going into a conversation. If it's a serious matter and it involves the people that you love and people that's around you that you care about, then just take the time to listen and absorb what they have to say. And if you get mad, just walk away and give it time, because whenever you continue to communicate over something that's upsetting you, first off, it's going to put up blocks. It's going that's going to pull on the heartstrings, whatever strings that's hitting. And then you're going to start speaking your feelings. And whenever you're feeling bad, then you're never going to break ground on repairing any type of communication or any issues. So just walk away. Granted, they let you walk away for a moment, but I mean, just walk away and then come back after those feelings, after your heart stops racing, after your palms aren't sweaty no more. Just walk and then come back and then try to communicate and express that you understand, and just look at it from all angles, because it's very important in moving forward in one's mental fortitude.
I think it's very satisfying or emotional neededly for people to feel heard and not just agreed with. And because that creates a feeling of dismissal and feels disagreed with. It feels both.
Yeah, for sure. And it only worsens what the problem that you're trying to communicate.
Correct.
And it's not even just problems; it could be a good thing.
Right.
But if that person doesn't care,
Oh, yes.
what's your issues or what's your great things? You know, your pride. There's so many variables, but communication in general, misunderstanding, and it all comes down to communication and
Right.
how you handle it.
Like me talking to people about my podcast and they're like dismissing it because they don't understand and they don't want to. It's a good thing for me, and I hope for other people, which is why I'm doing it. But people don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, and they don't want to hear about it unless the only way that somebody wants to hear about it is if they care about you and they have a concern and they want to maybe not necessarily go out of their way to help, but to at least listen and
do an attaboy.
whatever it may be. But it's like the people that's going to listen, say on the podcast, on this channel, for example, the people who's really going to listen is the people who's having issues within themselves. And they have to actually have hit that point and want to repair themselves.
Right.
And that's why you're doing it, is that way somebody can actually take it and you can share what's happened to you and who you are. You can take that and people are looking for like to heal. So you have to hit that point of wanting and recognizing that change. So that's when they're going to listen.
Well, I have found that I've been given advice that I did not take at the time. But years down the road, after I understood reality, I took that advice, and so even if they're hearing this and they're thinking it's BS at this point,
So I would say, sorry, but this is for big boys and big girls. This is this is after you already done so much. Yeah, I mean, and now you're recognizing things that beforehand, right?
Right.
You didn't recognize, and you couldn't intellectually, but that you got to go through hard things to grow the wisdoms to even be able to listen in a lot of ways.
So I've never asked you this question, but you have known me for a long time, and you have seen me in various stages of my life. Maybe not my bottom, but close to.
I've seen the remnants currently of your past. I guess metaphorically.
And I want you to be honest and tell me, the growth or stillness that you have seen in me.
So we communicate a lot.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of your life that I never experienced that I feel like I was part of. I truly listen, and so it's hard for me to differentiate like your current. I feel like I could say with all certainty that you've come so far and you've grown so much, but that's just me speaking from what I've absorbed from you. Since I've visually and personally met you, there's been a lot of mental interior and mental change.
Right.
And I can recognize that fully. Your actions aren't much different.
In what way?
In the sense of you are who you are, and you're not going to change that. And nobody should want to change somebody, in any way, unless it's for the better. And if
they're slow though, right?
Yeah, of course. But no, I've seen a lot of progression mentally and a lot of wisdoms come about. And I guess that would be growing. I mean, I met somebody who already was very wise because they dealt with so much road blocking, you know what I mean, and hurt and pain from the past, and living with that, um, and everybody misunderstanding, not just what you're saying, but who you are. And there's a lot of reason behind that. But like I said, there's a lot of growth and a lot of realized wisdom that I have noticed just in your I say you have a huge drive to want to heal, and you've healed in many ways, or at least are on the path to healing. Um, and I can say that because I have no resentments with you, in a sense. And
We've gone through some
we
stuff.
all feel resentment. I feel like we've gone through stuff together that we even haven't. You know what I mean? Like, I know there's not many people that can communicate in a way um, that we do. So, like, when I listen to things from your past, it made it really easy for me to listen and then absorb because I wasn't a part of it, right?
Right.
And so, whenever I would listen, I wouldn't have those blocks, and so I didn't have those feelings getting in the way of me understanding. So there was no misunderstanding of what you're communicating to me. I didn't have roadblocks in the way of absorbing that.
It also made it easier for me to tell you the things I've never told people before, and what I was really feeling and doing, and the embarrassing things that made people not want to associate with me,
Yeah.
and how it was my part that was being played, not on them.
Yeah.
And that is something that is really hard to say because you're stripping your pride of who you, especially the persona I have built up of who I am to other people, and I'm really not on the inside this badass that can just take whatever. And
No, well, you are, but I know what you mean.
but not as much as I present.
Yeah. Well, what you feel and hurt more than people see from outwardly.
Yes.
You don't put it out there, but you feel it. You know what I mean? And that's how you come a long way. It's like you hit a huge turning point in your life. I think with me, in a sense, not that I caused it, but
You only shame
our connection made it to where you could start anew in a sense of showing somebody who you really are. And I mean that by whenever you try to communicate with somebody from your past, right, that knows who you were way back then, they're already brain rotted to the fact that they know who you are and you're never going to change.
Yes.
Right. And so like communicating things with people who know your attitude from your past, they already have that block. So it makes it so hard for you to grow out of that scenario because people are already judging you before you even get a word out.
and expecting.
And resenting. And so that communicational pathway is already destroyed. And they're not going to open it up and try to communicate and help you heal and move forward. Then you have to do it yourself. And you can't do that without somebody to communicate it with. And I think that unknowingly, whenever our paths crossed, it truly gave you a channel and communicatively to express things that you weren't able to express beforehand to try to repair. And so I think that really enabled you and me too. I'm not just talking about her like this. You know what I mean? She's helped me in a lot of ways too, just in different manifest. But I think that, yeah, that our connection has opened up the ability, the road to heal. And you know, you really do have a soul shelter with me. Yeah.
And you with me.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's really cool. I even I don't communicate very much. And I don't talk very much. Probably can't tell. But I don't talk very much.
Well, then, I want to change that. I think you do, but about surface things,
Yeah.
not about deep, emotional,
Yeah.
and you like it that way.
Well,
I,
I don't think I like it that way. I think that I've learned to live that way because of misunderstandings. I have a different set of circumstances that's happened to me in my life, and I've went through a lot of things, and I can tell you right now with 100% certainty that there is, you know, I there's a lot of things that I will never be understood. Not that I don't understand it, I live it, but if you haven't experienced certain things, whenever you speak about it, people don't understand what you're speaking about, and or they can't associate the feelings with why it's detrimental to a person or whatever's trying to be portrayed or
which is
spoken
the
of.
emotional validation versus a factual argument.
Yes, because a lot of times you just want to be heard, and you just want to be. You're really trying to assure yourself that you're not crazy or that
Yes.
that your feelings, like you're not just feeling this overwhelming feeling because for no reason. Like you're not crazy. It's a real feeling. Everybody's feelings are real, and they need to be understood. If you feel misunderstood, it's because you don't have anybody to communicate with and absorb what you're saying, and you need that validation in order to feel sane and have a level mind.
There's many conversations that I know we have started with. I understand why you're feeling this way, but it's not real.
Yeah, and that's okay. And that's okay because I mean, okay, guys, like she talks a lot about every aspect of everything, and
To the point people are like, "Are you done?"
a lot of people are like, "Ooh, am I gonna go talk to Brandy? Because I'll be over there in 3 hours." But the thing of it is, whenever you get to know Brandy, she don't care if you're listening or not most of the time.
I don't.
There's differences. There's a different time when she wants you to hear something, and there's a time whenever she just wants to talk or whatever. And so there's time to listen, time to talk.
And I let the person I'm talking to know I don't care. I'm not going to quiz you on this to see if you're really listening or not because I don't care. I just need to talk and have somebody in the room.
And it's kind of unmoral, in my opinion. It's kind of hard to not listen. And so with you, I've learned very well to take those little factors of like little points of when I need to like keep an ear out, right? So when I hear the right phrasing or the right word or the right keystroke, I can direct my focus back and actually listen. Because I'll sit there for hours, guys. I'm not fucking kidding. I'm sitting there for hours, like coding on the computer or playing guitar or whatever, and she's like literally 10 feet away, looking at me and oh, I'm this and talking and talking and talking, and I just look over and nod every now
And
and
I'm
then.
cool with that.
And it's a weird dynamic, but definitely when something needs to be understood, you have to take a different tone and a different approach because those are different feelings.
Yeah.
Hurt is real. Talking is one thing. Jabbers was one thing. Gabby,
Yeah. That's what I do. In fact, my grandmother, anytime we go out in public, she's like, "Have you met my granddaughter, Gabby?"
I don't know how far we're coming off of our.
We're actually,
I know we have talking points, but
yeah,
like, I'm
we're
not
actually
supposed
hitting
to
them.
look at them.
We've actually been hitting them. Like we have strayed, but when I looked, we were on our talking
Oh
point.
yeah, because I'll stray everywhere.
So, yeah, our next talking point is the difference between intent and impact.
Intent. See, we already even kind of spoke about that because it
Yeah.
just goes along the lines of it. Intention is everything. Intention and focus. Intent and focus.
Yeah, and that's what what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
And our conversations have naturally led into our bullet point and to this point.
Yeah, every time. It's not often you find that type of communication. It's weird. I've never.
And dialogue.
Yeah.
That's not scripted.
Yeah, and that's very important.
And you and I, we could talk like this for hours on hours about any topic. Give us any topic: science, English, emotions, personalities.
So this is more of a podcast on It's kind of, I don't know. More,
On healing and recognizing things we do because of our trauma.
but you have to find that connection. You have to find somebody or convert the connections that you already have. You have to be able to talk to somebody and you have to be heard. You know, and that goes back to it. I think you and I have that type of connection because we're not in any type of relationship, or
Right.
it's non-monogamous, and it's completely sterile. We're not completely rid of all resentment. But that just comes along. That just comes in relation in general, because we both have
Strong personality.
and good intent.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, when emotions are controlled.
Right.
And I think that most people really do have a good intent. There is some evil people out there that their intentions are literally to be a parasite and have a parasitic relationship with the people that is around them, even their loved ones, and they don't care to be understood. They don't care about that person's well-being in any way, mentally or physically, and their goal is to just better themselves or achieve their goals at the detriment or
Of others.
of the well-being of others.
And the thing that is crazy about that to me is that if you are with somebody and they're doing well, it looks good for you.
It looks good.
But I'm saying, why would you want to destroy the person that you're with to make yourself look better when it doesn't look good? You're like, everyone, all your friends start telling you you're better than this person because they look like crap because you mentally beat them down. You know what I mean?
It depends on what your intent is personally, the connections that you have.
But-
Because
No, I get that, but I'm saying, like, who doesn't want a peaceful, hey, look, we're better than the Joneses over here.
because of what people's worked for. If you don't have a sense of pride, if you haven't worked and busted ass and worked for the things that you have, right, then you don't have a respect for your situation and your connections. Like, for instance, if you have somebody is born right onto a family property, say, and this isn't anybody in particular, I just recognize this in my own connections throughout my life. But if you have somebody that's been given everything, right? They don't, and there's a lot of different subjects and different branches
Right.
branch off, and I'm trying not to. When somebody has that fallback, it doesn't matter what happens with this connection. They could just cut it immediately. They could cut everybody in their whole life, and they could cut all the patterns of their life. They could just drop any job they have. They could, and they'll be okay. They will survive because they have been given a chance to survive within.
It's that one foot in the door and one foot out.
Yeah, and so the thing is, like,
This doesn't have to work.
they're not scared of losing it.
Right.
Because, like, they're not scared to lose a job, because if they lose the job, then they get to go sit on their couch, right?
And daddy's going to pay
And
them.
daddy's gonna pay for it. You see it big time in, like, on campus.
Oh, yeah.
And there's different aspects and avenues of how to look at that. But people who don't care at all and don't have any remorse, it's because they don't need you. They feel like they don't need you. But whenever mommy or daddy or whatever their situation that's grown so much contentment within their scenario, within their well-being, within their survival, when that's gone, that's when their lives change. Because then they figure out that, oh, I know nothing about how to survive for myself. I don't and it's really hard to you can't tell somebody that, because they have to experience the fact that if you do nothing, if you sit idly by, then you will fail. It's like, the man who don't work shall eat.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of wisdom that a person has to learn before they're willing to even understand, before they're even willing to bat an eye at somebody's feelings. That if you're going through these feelings because you don't have nowhere to go, right? If you're going through this hardship because you don't know what you're going to do next, or where you're going to eat next, or what clothes you're going to wear tomorrow. This even blends in with one of your last podcasts I was listening to. If you don't have if you don't know,
If you don't know where you're gonna lay your head, if you don't know where you're gonna, how you're gonna get to work tomorrow, you can't be working on how you feel emotionally about other things that have hurt you because you're in panic mode.
yeah, you're in panic mode, and you're not listening to anything.
Yes. Not even yourself.
Not even yourself. Yeah, and until you endure those type of scenarios and you have those feelings, somebody who hasn't experienced any of that, they don't even they're not going to understand. There's no way they can understand what you're going through. So there's no way that you can connect. That person will connect with you. They might just listen and say, "Yeah, I'm not." But that's one of those times that you need listened to and not just like overheard. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
like it's very deep. When you go deep, you need somebody to hear that. You need that validation. And so like
So that's why what you're explaining right now is why most misunderstandings come from assumptions, mostly come from assumptions.
yeah, because people can only assume how you feel unless they've experienced it themselves. And that's where wisdom plays a big role in our society. It's almost like non-physically, but mentally, that's where you age. I mean, that's where you become. You have to have wisdom in this life in order to really connect emotionally with it.
Right. And your tones and your body language and all of that matters when you're communicating because people get offended by it or are assuming you're not paying attention. And this is something that I struggle with. My tones and my voice are very firm when I'm most of the time.
Unavoidable.
Yeah.
Whenever you meet, you know what I mean? It's unavoidable.
And my body language is very strong because I feel my whole life I've never been truly heard.
Yeah.
And so I aggressively talk to people like that. And it's misunderstood what I'm like. I'm really just trying to be heard, but they're taking it as I'm attacking them. And I see that that's a problem.
Yeah.
But it is a very hard habit to break. And you've experienced this. You know where the line is and where the line isn't. But other people who don't know.
Yeah, that knows you, but aren't willing to talk to you no more, or whatever it be.
Right.
There's no way to repair that connection.
Right.
Because they won't even give you the chance to show them that you've grown wise to some of the things that beforehand you wouldn't accept,
Right.
listen to,
Right. Well, you were here when I did, when I took my first personality test. And when you came in and I was like, I was upset. I don't think I read it to you, but I told you that it absolutely was me and it's not who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And then you saw me start doing deep diving and research about
Overly.
about how to fix my problems.
And mine. The same ones that I don't want to accept. So mind you, there's some.
No, because it goes back to people don't move until it hurts not to move.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's everybody does it, including myself. And it's because you don't know. It's like you don't know that you need to move out of the spot you're standing in until you step in a sticker.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you realize,
And then you're like,
it's all over.
Yeah.
I avoid that.
Yes.
So we do that in life in most things.
I'm 100% aware of this. But I think that too many people are sitting still for too long in their pain because they're afraid that if they move, it's going to hurt more. Like the sticker, if they step further on the sticker, it's going to go deeper and it's going to hurt more.
Yeah, or if they continue to walk in that direction, they're going to have to get multiple stickers.
Yes, yes.
So you either learn to walk with those stickers on the bottom of your feet, or if you don't like, get out of that sticker patch. Get back to the road. Get back to the dirty. Yeah, and there's a lot of growing and a lot of time and a lot of wisdom that must be experienced.
You can't
and absorbed.
I can't tell
Understood.
people. No, really, I can't tell people. Hey, this is going to happen, and then you need to do this and this because everybody experiences things differently. And all I'm trying to get across to people is that I don't want them to be in that sticker patch longer than they need to be.
Yes.
I want them to realize
That's key.
yes,
Because yes,
they have to be there,
They have to be there. They have to be in it.
but they don't have to use it as a crutch to continue to be there. I can't walk any further because my feet are so full of stickers. They need to learn how to pull those stickers out faster and get out of the patch.
Yeah. That's just that's like in raising children. You know what I mean? When you have an overprotective mother that don't want her babies to get hurt or whatever, it's imperative that you allow them to get hurt, which is counterintuitive to care and compassion. But really, once the wisdom goes through, once you've journeyed and you've experienced it, you can look back and you can say, "Oh, I have to let my children, the person that I'm trying to guide, experience that hurt or that pain. Otherwise, whenever they get old enough or whenever they get themselves into a situation where they feel that, then they don't know how to handle it. They don't know what to do."
Well, not just that. It's like when you're teaching kids, don't touch the apple that's hot.
Yeah.
And they touch it anyways. It's because they didn't understand the word hot. What does it mean?
Yeah.
They didn't understand it until they got burnt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, we have to get burnt a little bit to understand playing with fire and gasoline isn't what we should be doing.
And the more that you get burnt, the more that you're able to see different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
It changes your perception of life.
Oh, yes.
Because I may not have been burned by the same fires that's burned you, right? None of us.
Definitely.
We definitely have different fires that's burned us. But there's one thing for certain: you and I have both been in fire. Different reasons. And I think that for a person to really understand, for you to feel not misunderstood in your feelings, it's important in a person's journey, in a soul's journey, right? It's important in somebody's journey to have empathy for burns. It doesn't matter how that burn occurs. You're not going to listen to somebody's hurt if you don't even know what hurting is. So you have to have been hurt and been on fire to be able to care enough and have empathy enough to listen to somebody else's burn. Meanwhile, my foot's on fire over here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I think that it's time. It's time for the world to wake up and repair this connection and this misunderstanding.
Yeah, because a lot of times we land in the same spot. We just got there a different way. And understanding each other's roads to get there, I think is important, especially if it's someone you're trying to have a relationship with, because it means that it takes them longer or less time to get to the same place you got. And so you're going to have to be patient, or you're going to have to.
You got to recognize that.
Yeah. Yes. And so, and that affects in everything you're trying to do together as a team, to goals to meet and in communications to get to those goals, or discuss what those goals even are.
Yeah.
And then that's where it comes into one person's hearing criticism and another person is giving advice. And you and I have had many miscommunications like that.
Yeah, and I would, definitely. But the thing of it is that even though that is the case within any person's conversation, that's where like compassion and empathy comes into play. Because if I don't care about the connections, or if somebody doesn't care about the connection with that person that they're feeling offended from,
which should also be a red flag of friends that you probably don't need in your life.
Yeah, for sure. And that's for certain. But it's hard to see that in the moment. It's hard to see people,
especially when you're close and lonely.
Especially when people lie about their intention for all kinds of reasons, from manipulations, and we've already covered that, from manipulative behavior. People use you, and that's just how it is. People are going to try to use. We use roads every day to try to get to work.
And everybody's on those roads.
It's just we need to learn to do it in more of a manner where we're not affecting other people and hurting them more by doing so.
Exactly.
Symbiotic relationship.
Creating unintended tattoos.
Yeah.
Or carrying other people's tattoos that they put on you. and accepting labels that aren't true. Like I'm not pretty because I'm fat, or
Or I'm not a rapist.
I'm ugly, or I'm. Oh my God! Some Black Eyed Peas stuff just came up, and I don't know what's going on. Anyways, like I'm ugly, and no one's gonna love me because I'm old, and all of these things are labels you're putting on yourself because the TV and the magazines and people around you say so. But that's not your
Self-image, self-image,
yeah
which changes the
your
aggression
opinion.
towards progression. Like if you feel down in the dumps or you're feeling emotionally distraught, it's hard to correct your problems.
Why fixate myself when there's nothing I can do about my look, about my wrinkles that are coming in, or
I
my
can't have a
hair.
job interview because I don't feel like I'm looking the part, whatever. That's just in your head. Like we was talking, she got a new job, right? And she was like, "Well, I look like crap. I look like crap." But I went up there, expecting the worst, and they hired me anyway. But now I'm feeling great, and I'm looking better. And part of feeling good is looking good, if you and vice versa.
Right, but that person has to be cut out. You could say that again, but as a different event.
Yeah. I don't know how to do
But
that.
yeah, so yeah, that's gonna happen.
Let's use that, right?
Yeah. No, but yeah, no, there was a time, or there's many times that I'm like, I don't think I got it because I didn't like the expression that they gave me or whatever. And they were really just putting out their poker face because they had other interviews. They've probably been doing this all day and they're tired. And I get the call back. You want to come do a second interview? Well, and what?
Yeah.
When I answered a certain question, it prompted them to ask me more questions. And I'm thinking they're not believing what I'm telling them.
Yeah.
And really, they're just curious why I'm answering the way I am.
Yeah, and that's overanalyzation of intent.
Because
And there's misintent, there's misunderstandings, there's misintent. It's the same thing.
Well, because when at least for me, when I would walk into a place that I didn't feel like I was addressed as men, and they were, like in three-piece suits sitting behind this desk asking me questions, I already feel less than them. They already felt superior than me. And
I
then,
remember you telling me a story about your ex-husband going, sit down at the table or something, and he's in cowboy jeans and his hat and whatever, and it's like a black and white party or whatever.
okay, so the story is I had just taken a job at the bank, and they wanted to welcome me, and so they took me out to a restaurant or a bar called Pizzas. And when you walk in, they have these white couches and they have coffee tables, and it's and they got like hors d'oeuvres and crackers with hummus, which I'll never put hummus in my mouth because it sounds like something that you should treat a yeast infection with. Anyways,
I like hummus. It's not a little less.
no, you're not that in my there telling you that. Anyways, so I said before my husband because he was still working, and he is a country bumpkin. He is wearing cowboy boots, Wrangler jeans, a welding shirt because he just got off work, and a cowboy hat. He has his handlebar mustache, and he walks in the bar, and he's like, well, this place is a little different. This is not a party he's ever been in his life. And so we sit down and we had a good time, but he was uneasy the whole time because he's like,
Everybody's looking at him.
well, and if you serve Bud White Light or Budweiser, they didn't sell any of that. They sold like Pabst, PBR, stuff that he's not used to drinking. He didn't have his normal, and so
Besides Brandy.
so then he's like adjusting not just his environment, but his taste buds at the moment.
Yeah.
And so, that was interesting. And then he started talking about my other ex-husband.
It
And
adds to the adds to the
Attention.
feeling. Yeah.
And I think he just brought that up because to take focus off of him.
Yeah. Exactly.
And anyways, he was talking about how he said that my ex-husband was gay because he was drinking a beer with his pinky up and his foot against the cabinets. So my boss took that to heart. And he would crack up. He's like, so look, I'm going on vacation. And I'm going to send you some pictures and I want you to show your husband. Every day he would get a glass of champagne or something and lean against the wall, hold his pinky out and drink it.
Yeah.
It was great, but we got off on topic and I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where we were at, but we'll move on to the next one.
I think we fell off in the story.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Have you ever said anything that someone has completely took in a different manner than you meant it in? I have been that person, so I'm going to say yes, you have.
Well, I grew up in a very, I guess, dirty-minded home, and I grew up in a hotel resort. So there's been very, very many times that somebody says something and it's like a pun. You know what I mean? So, at the base level, I've said something that someone took completely different than what I meant it because I meant it. Because I was looking for that, that double. So that's at the base value, but we're talking more serious than that. I have, and it happens all the time. And that's,
I remember there's been times you're like, I'm saying this. I see you're taking it as this, but I'm meaning it in this way. So I don't remember the exact conversation.
there's been a few times like that, I think. That's visual cues,
Yeah, no, you and I are very good at doing that to each other. Like I'm maybe I'm not using the right words. Maybe I'm not using the right phrases.
Terminology.
And then we hash it out until we get it right. Which people do not do.
Yeah, and that's part of somebody just jamming everything out that they're trying to say to so quickly because they want to get out what they have to say before they get cut off or whatever it is. There's time to listen and time to talk, and there's time there's a time to hold on to your feelings while you're being talked to. Like you don't just walk out on a conversation that's very much needed, even if it's hurting you.
Yes.
Even if hearing what you're hearing hurts you,
And don't be afraid.
Open up and hold on to that for a second, because if you don't, then you're gonna hold on to it forever at some point.
And don't be afraid to look at why it's hurting you and express that. Because not everyone that you talk to is going to use what you're saying against you. And if they are people who are doing that, then they're probably not great for your life.
Exactly, but it's hard to see that in a moment.
I know. And I'm saying
at any point, they can turn it around. And whereas they was listening and they was doing that, they could turn around, get mad at you, and then through emotional distress, run off and screw and just completely misinterpret what they know to be the opposite of its understanding.
And that because I did that to you.
I think I think that happens a lot more. These things happen a lot more in our everyday lives than what we really see.
Yes.
It's not a matter of that's not a matter of misunderstanding. That's just a matter of fact.
Yes.
People are blind to things, and
because they're meeting a need over here, and they're ignoring this other need that's not being met, and they think that that's okay because they're satisfied in some part of their life, and that's just based upon a trauma belief because you've been hurt for so long. You don't know how to expect your
you don't know how to deal with it and move forward. Right? You can't expect it to get better if you don't sit there, man up, and deal with it.
Well, that's true too. I can look back at previous relationships and say that relationship probably would have worked out had I just expressed this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's with everything. We make decisions in our life based on unfortunately how we're feeling. And so it's hard to find a good feeling channel to stay in.
Yeah, and we base permanent decisions on temporary emotions all the time.
Or we make decisions that affect our
Permanent steps.
permanent status and our stability because of unstable emotions.
Correct.
And so I think it's something that is very, very needed to be heard. I hope you guys understand that we're not just sitting here talking about whatever. This does have a topic.
Yeah, this
It's
is a
about
point.
misunderstanding, or the feeling of being misunderstood. If you feel misunderstood, you need to, one, allow yourself the conversations and the contacts with people who can give you that understood feeling. Heard. You need to be able to be heard if you want to be validated. You can't validate yourself. You can try, but you can't. You gotta have somebody to that validation.
But I think they have to also be able to absorb and look inside themselves and find out and understand why they feel like they're being misunderstood.
Yeah.
Is it on their behalf? Is it on the other person's behalf? Is it a combination of the two?
And normally it's combination of the two.
Right.
But
But you get what I'm saying. Like, so what part are they misunderstanding me and how do I explain it to them?
it's where you gotta break it down. You really gotta break it down, and you can usually by visual cue you can see that. When people are conversating about something that is bothering, and it's usually not bothering one of them.
Right.
If we're speaking like relationship statuses here, it's usually only bothering one side of them. If it's bothering both, then it's an easy agreement because then
It hasn't been worked out.
it's just a boundary that hasn't been
Said or
set upon or whatever, and they're both correct. So there's a lot of reasons for all of this. There's a reason that we're here doing this podcast right now. And there's a lot of people that I hope can just take this information that we're speaking and
use it for direct indirect conversation.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can be too direct with somebody and they're just offensive about it.
Yeah, or they're
And then they
scared.
can't hear you.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when you speak in parables like Jesus did,
Exactly correct.
so that
Somebody
they
who doesn't
can
understand that can try to understand it.
and it also takes a personal situation and makes it hindsight 2020
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It puts distance between your emotions and the situation, and it allows everyone to see it in a different view.
That's very important. Just seeing it from their perspective.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you're not going to be understood if that person isn't seeing your perspective.
And if you're becoming emotional about it because they're not understanding it, it becomes emotional communication instead of logic communication.
Yeah.
And he or she's never going to understand you because you're not speaking in logic. You're speaking from emotions, and they have never felt the emotion that you're expressing.
Logically.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it will just be a never-ending misunderstanding.
That's where wise people are very good at guiding communications. But that also plays into intent too. It's like you got to be wise enough to see things. Foresight.
That's why you need to process internally before speaking out loud.
Yeah.
Because if you're not clear in your thoughts, how are you supposed to make them clear in your thoughts?
Yeah.
It's
It's like you. I was sitting on the couch one day. You wake up in the morning, you're mad, you're screaming, and you just say, it's like something hurt. Somebody kicked your dog or something. You know?
right.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll make some pancakes. It's like, I understood what you were blowing up about, and I don't think you even knew you were blowing up. And it's, but I see that, and I'm wise to follow that, and you are too. And I think that I would like to, for anybody who's listening, I hope that you can find wisdom and patience for people who don't understand you and for things that you don't understand. And so, it's a big game of life. And we're going to live it. We have to live it. There's no other option. People say that life's short, but honestly, it's the longest thing you'll ever know. And so, those reasons, I want to help as much as I can. So I hope I help somebody in communicating today. People can listen to you and I. This is the perfect example of communication. Even if we didn't explain to you how to fix this misunderstanding issue, whatever. Maybe you could see a connection between two people that is open and in forward direction. And maybe you can take cues of how we're communicating now. I know we're cutting each other off a lot, but that's just part of open communication. And we didn't get too personal about so many personal things. But I think that if people could learn to, give each other the chance to say it, listen and go back and forth and really communicate the details about things without getting offended, be aware of other people's feelings, be empathetic. I think that you'll fix a lot of problems and misunderstanding, and you'll be validated in ways that you never knew you could.
So do you think that people are misunderstanding each other more because of personality differences or because of communication issues?
Both.
Can you explain?
Well, I think that the way that you're raised changes your perception of life. And the situations that you end up in from that changes your perspective on situational things. And I think that without going through a lot of different ones, it's hard to see other perspectives. Like my perspective on something can be completely different from the perspective of somebody else. It's only that once I was able to see that their perspective from what they're saying, right, that I was able to really understand what they're saying. So it takes a lot of experience. And I think that the way that our backgrounds, the way that we're raised, the things that we face growing up builds our perception. And so it's very important that that's going to be a big factor in misunderstanding, is not giving somebody else's understanding a thought. Put yourself in their shoes. People don't put themselves in other people's shoes whenever they're trying to understand. So there's a lot of it that stems from background and the way that we're raised and the situations that we go through to get there. But the ultimate goal is to grow wise enough to see from different perspectives. Once you can do that, then communication almost becomes simple.
Right. I agree.
Because you can stop and you can listen and you can take into account the seriousness of this person's feelings, even though it has nothing to do with you. Even if it directly has everything to do with you. Grow wise and listen, because most of your communication and misunderstanding issues are coming because of a lack of somebody's ability to see and hear you. And so that's
I think part of that is that when we're not getting all the information that we need to process what you're saying to us, is that we fill in the missing information with stuff that's already in our head.
yeah.
And then that creates an assumption of someone's intention. And when you stop listening and you stop paying attention to what they're saying, so it's very important not to fill in the blanks. If you have questions, like you feel like there's a blank or an empty spot that doesn't make sense, ask questions to get full understanding, so that there is no assumptions, there's no misinformation, there's no misintentions, there's no mind reading, because I am not a mind reader. I don't think you are either. You might come close, but you're not.
We cannot directly see
Right.
people's thinking.
And then it avoids wrongful people being wrong or mad, and energy levels getting up higher than they need to be because
Elevated or under.
it's true. Because we're
There's a balance.
mad that you're not hearing, you're not understanding, or is it just because they don't agree with you? I mean, there's also that thing. You also have to, are you mad because they're not agreeing with you, or are you mad because it's a misunderstanding?
Yeah.
There's
There's a lot of different aspects to
Yeah.
communication, but I think that ultimately, I think that it's very important to just take your time and learn to leave your emotions out of it. It might even be emotionally brought to the plate of the reason why you're needing to communicate or understand or need to be understood. But once you get to that point where you need to communicate about it and people are misunderstanding you, it's time to take the emotion out of it and just in reality and just this is what it is. This is what it is. This is how I'm feeling without expressing my feeling while I'm trying to explain. Right?
Right.
So you got to be able to shut it off. You must at some point turn off the emotion and be blunt so that you can be extreme. Like her and I are completely opposite. Well, you know, she come from a time and a place where she blows up about things and kind of, in my opinion, would be overdoing. and vice versa. I come from a background where, or from situations where I feel like I've been beat down, and whenever I express something or try to communicate something, nobody's gonna understand it anyway.
Okay.
That's what I don't care. So I just stay small. She stays big, and so that's what I think that's important to see, that she can see that perspective in my situational happenings, and I can see her perspective, and I think that that's a good balance. You got to find a balance between blowing up and shutting down. You know, over communicating about something or not communicating at all.
And choosing that is very emotional because every inch of your body wants to blow up.
Or wants to go ahead.
Yes, and it is like being pulled out of your closet when all you want to do is be there.
Let's remember that.
And all of that stems from reacting to old pain, and another, which leads me to another part of miscommunication is people have been hurt. Everybody's been hurt by somebody doing something, and they look back at what led up to that point. And so when they start seeing people do those things or say those things or act in those ways, they assume this is where it's going and they're trying to stop their pain. And even though that is not your intent, they can't believe that because of the experience, and they're basically punishing you for their pain.
Yeah.
And it's a very hard, frustrating thing to be on the other side of that.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to happen no matter what.
And you have to understand that where they're coming from. It's not fair, and it hurts, and it's not. The only thing that you can do to get past that is to consistently show them that it doesn't lead to that thing that they're afraid of.
If they're important to you to the point that matters and they're not going anywhere, then you must learn to do these things in order to have a good, be content with where you're at and what you're trying to do.
And I think it's also important that if we are going to have serious conversations, they not be done in text.
Yeah.
Because it has no tone.
Yeah, there's no tone. There's no visual cue, and there's no expressional.
Right. So it could be read across as nothing, or it could be read across as everything.
Yeah, because just like in communication, tone is everything. It's not about what you say, to be honest. What you say is the subject matter, but it's the tone that you say it in that really affects the outcome of every single scenario that you could possibly have ever. It's like I mean, it really does. The tone sets the path. You know what I mean? Like I could say, this coffee's hot. In the morning, I could say, hey, this coffee's hot. And so yeah, that's just a fact. But I could say, oh, this coffee's hot.
And I'm like,
Are you mad at me? And everyone's like, well, okay. Do you like that or do you hate that? Yeah. Well, because it's just the subject matter is what I said. It's the way I say it that is of what people are going to assume how you feel about it.
well, and if you're having a serious conversation, 100%, even if you're a funny person, and you shouldn't be using sarcasm or jokes in a serious conversation, because that is also going to lead to dismissive feelings.
Yep.
And feeling like the other person feeling misunderstood, like they don't care what I'm saying and they're making fun of me. And that is a very hard thing that people who make light of things so they're comfortable has to realize that they do make other people feel
know they're not intending to.
right, or they're trying to lighten the mood so that they can continue the conversation. The other person is now extremely offended.
And it's getting worse.
Yes,
Especially if it's the person that you're trying to communicate with directly.
yes,
That makes it way worse. You cannot, don't, like we was talking about earlier, there's a time to be serious and a time, there's time to listen, time to talk, there's time to be direct and focus, there's time that you can unfocus and hear words. I mean, you can hear words all day long. She can talk to me all day long, and I'll sit over here and do something else. And she don't care, and I don't really care. But as soon as you hear that, there's a difference when it becomes something serious. If there's a problem or something, so always give the person that you try to communicate them a chance to be heard. Because if they feel misunderstood, they're not going to come out of that. And nothing's going to go
they're
down.
actually going to withdraw because they're going to be like, they don't care. So why waste my breath in telling them how I feel? And then it's going to create blow-ups over stupid things, and it's going to, and they're not even going to remember the reason they're mad at you. And it's never going to be repairable.
Or in the same manifest in my situation, it's just going to make me feel like you don't hear what I have to say. Instead of blowing up, I'm gonna just
Disappear.
just gonna disappear because you don't really care enough to understand what I'm trying to seriously have somebody hear. I mean, if I'm trying to communicate, feel misunderstood, I'm gonna go and eventually I'm gonna keep giving the chance for somebody to understand it. But eventually I'm just gonna go away because I'm not finding anybody that understands me or listen to me to validate my feelings. And it's the opposite in that way too.
Yes.
Is that some people will just blow up and they'll keep blowing up, and until
Because I'm
they're gonna get
learning.
rid of whatever's causing that blow up. So
Yeah. Which chases you off.
yeah, exactly. And so that's actually something that probably a lot of you are dealing with is that exact scenario where you're easily pushed away by feelings, and your partner is easily blows up real easy about feelings or lack of feelings or whatever it may be. A lot of you are probably dealing with that exactly, and nobody's the same. We all come from different backgrounds, so
But there's only two ways to go from there.
yeah, you're either gonna make it work and start to listen, or you're not, and you don't need that person to listen. So try to like in my world, I try to be more like her and stand up for my feelings and stuff instead of just running away. Because we and vice versa. She I can tell tries to be more calm when she wants to blow up. I can see it. She tries to see when I want to run away. And a lot of you are probably dealing with that in your within your relationships, and just learn to learn to notice these things and back off. Like back off. Don't run away. Just back off. Give it a little bit. That way those feelings go away.
I'm trying to look at different sides while you're doing that, because it does that actually is calming, at least for me. It makes me feel like I'm giving them a reason for their action, and then when I come back to the conversation and I try to understand their lack of reaction or their action, it's either justified or not, and then I can go from there.
Yeah. But you don't want to overanalyze neither.
No.
Whenever you give that space, don't sit there and wonder what's going to happen. What's happening.
And don't address it again.
No.
Don't not address it.
Yeah, it must come back.
Yeah.
It must come back. And if you feel like you want to run away, you feel like you want to blow up, take that moment again. Take that moment again. And keep going back and forth, and I guarantee you will get through whatever's trying to be understood.
And you're going to be closer to that person.
You will. Because if you, like this person knows, when you give that moment, because the feelings need to go away, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that person that you're running away from, if they know that they're not running away, he's not going to run away. They're just taking that moment, and they will be back before they run.
Yeah.
And on the other side, it's the same way. If you know that the disagreements and the misunderstanding of the problem you're trying to work through isn't going to either party isn't going to be like, it's not going to break the relationship, right? It's not going to break it, throw it, and all up. If you trust that your partner's going to be there to finish, if you have trust really comes to a lot of trust, which I have many issues. Yes. I'm sure we all do. I think I got sidetracked there, probably.
Yep. That's okay.
But it's important to just give it a moment and come back and try to attack the conversation to get your understanding across, or vice versa. Just give that moment. When feelings start flaring, give it a moment for care.
Okay, so anyways, I think that social media makes people feel more misunderstood because they give us their moments of clarity, and they don't show us the moments that it took to get to that clarity.
Yeah.
And so,
It's a long road.
yes.
Clarity.
And so when we're seeing people on social media, and you're like, why can't I have a man like that? Because they did their work. They already did their work. They're showing you the after effect, and you're assuming that you're just going to find somebody who you're going to have that connection with. And in reality, that is never going to happen.
Especially not to be blowing up all the time. Especially not to be running away from it all the time. You know what I mean? It's like two extreme tables. It's very hard to find somebody to communicate with, or
And if
you're running away from anybody at all.
And if you have two people that are running away, and two people that are blowing up, like
It's hard.
that's where you get the toxic relationship from. Because your absence is just as traumatizing to me as my explosions. And
to ourselves.
yeah, that too. But like it's like you're here, and then you took yourself away from me when I needed you to explain this whole reason why you ran. And it's traumatizing to me. And he doesn't see it that way. He's like, what was better than blowing up? Because there wasn't a big scene. But in my mind, I'd rather have the big scene. And he'd rather have the quietness. And we've learned to compromise most of the time with what each other needs. To
Because
continue
they
this.
both understand.
Right.
Like usually 9 times out of 10, people in a relationship can understand. They really can understand what the opposite person is feeling misunderstood about. So like, if this person over here feels misunderstood, it's because you're just not communicating that you understand it in your opposite opinion, or whatever it may be. We have the intellectuality as human beings to adapt and learn and feel what somebody else is feeling, empathy, all that. We can really do that. But whenever emotions get involved and we're feeling twisted up and we're feeling hurt, it really doesn't matter at that point what happens. You must let that subside. You must let those feelings and those emotions calm back down before eventually you can get it. You know what I mean?
But to fully get that, real listening requires curiosity.
Well, yeah, you gotta
Repeating what was heard in question form. Like, so what you're saying to me is that you prefer if I don't park in the garage after 8 o'clock.
Yep.
Not that I don't park in the hall, just after 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
correct?
Like, there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
understood of why. Okay, after 8 o'clock. After 8 o'clock, I'm doing band practice.
Right,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like, but that person didn't think about it like that, so you got to communicate that.
Right.
So that way they understand. They're misunderstanding what you're blowing about, or whatever it is, however it may be. But we gotta.
Yeah, there are definitely ways that we can change our wording. Like, you always make me feel like this.
Yeah.
And he's automatically on defense because I said you always.
Yeah. And you do meaning something positive.
And a better way to approach this is when I hear you say this or when I feel you do this, it makes me feel this way. Whether you're meaning it to or not, this is how I'm feeling when you're saying these words.
That's why it's really important. So whenever you try to communicate, to not say you. That's a tactic and
Or always.
Yeah. Or like don't use anything that indicates that the person you're talking to they did something, or they're
Or
doing something, or
they're the
being
reason you feel the way you do.
exactly try to come at it instead of saying, well, you do this to every time you do this.
Just irritating.
Yeah, yeah. And so whenever because most of those resentments are built, that's one of those audible cues that when you are doing this, well, guess what? It's like that's those are your feelings.
Yeah.
And so those walls go up, and then it immediately breaks down the conversation, breaks down the ability to hear and understand. So it's better to come at it with an approach of like, oh, I feel this way because when you do this, it makes me feel this way.
I just thought of a relationship that I was in that had huge misunderstandings in actions, not in words, but in actions. Like they would bring me home flowers, and I hate flowers being brought home to me. It's a nice gesture. They think they're doing something nice for me, but I hate it because it's a waste of money. They don't last very long. I would rather you bring me home a freaking candy bar because I'm going to enjoy every bite of that.
With the dandelion.
No,
Free from the ground.
you get that. But, and so where they think they're going out of their way to make me happy, and I'm really pissed off because they're spending the money. I'm building resentment because I don't want to be like, don't bring me flowers, because they're going to think I'm being ungrateful. And there's this misunderstanding that I would rather you spend the money on something that I'm going to enjoy if you're insisting on bringing me a gift.
Yeah.
And that was a huge misunderstanding and created resentments, which stopped all the gift giving together.
And I can directly correlate that too. My own personal walk on the earth. It's like I have a lot of ingenuity, Southern fried ingenuity. I can make anything work out of anything, and I can fix anything mechanically. I just understand it pretty thoroughly. And so, whereas somebody would be like, "Oh, well, the deck is breaking down and rotting out, or whatever was wrong," and in my mind, there's a lot of issues and resentments built up with people because they're like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna have contractor come out and rip it out, and I'm gonna spend $10,000 on a new porch, and get it done that way." And for me, it's like dang, okay, it's just like your flower thing, right? It's like don't buy me flowers. You could buy me candy bars or flower, of course. I agree on that completely. For the financial reasons, for me, like I was saying, like a porch scenario or something like that, something's broken, right? And they're like, "Oh, well, we'll just spend the money and throw it at it and fix it and get a new one and whatever, or else spend all the money to do this." And for me, people don't know that I could fix it just like that. Yeah, I mean, I could save you $5,000 and I can have it done tomorrow. And so, but people, they don't see it in my perspective, right? Just like people don't see the flower thing in your perspective. It's very important to see perspectives. Perspectives of everything, and because whenever somebody goes and pays that $10,000 for something that you could have done, that builds upon resentment. So whenever somebody brings you a flower, even though you've already said that, it brings upon resentment, like you were saying. It builds this like animosity within you because it's like I've already told you that I don't want flowers, I want chocolate. Like I say this, and it's like, dude, you just not listening to me, you don't understand what I mean by that. And it's the same way in my case with the whole.
Right, and then I feel like you're not doing anything that's benefiting me. And they feel like they're doing all the things that benefit me.
Yeah.
And so it creates a huge animosity between both parties. And they're working extra hard to try to please me, but in the wrong area. And it's just pissing me off. And probably me and them. Because maybe I'm buying them candy bars and they would rather have flowers.
Right?
But yeah, I don't know, because I'm loving you the only way I know how to be loved. And you're loving me the way you know how to love. And they're two different things.
And what the importance is with misunderstanding is that's a misunderstanding, and it's a misunderstanding in the way that things work. Perception, and so that's why perspective very important. You need to look at things from everybody's perspective. That's for certain. Because if you have the inability to see somebody else's perspective, especially through distraught feelings and hurt emotions, then you're never going to get to that point. Gotta learn to really care enough and dive deep into why and how and the views. Look at it from different views. And then you'll stop feeling misunderstood. If you're feeling misunderstood, you probably have done a lot of misunderstanding. And vice versa. If somebody's feeling misunderstood about something that you're doing, and it's just a lack of ability to understand a viewpoint. It's a viewpoint.
Yeah.
And it's very good to cover those things, especially within a relationship. Like, know the views of who you're trying to have understanding.
Right.
Otherwise, why would you even care to view it?
Well, this conversation will go on
It
forever.
could. Now, I think it's been 1 hour. and a half.
Yes, I think it's
Well,
long
you
enough.
guys,
This.
20 minutes
Uh,
by, and I'm like,
So I'm gonna, what I'm gonna do is, at this point, I'm just gonna explain that, it's alliterate that being understood makes people feel safe. And that is the exact reason why it's important to have this conversation that we're having today, I think. And I think that it's important that people are heard and understood. And I see a lot of people not understanding how to get there.
Yeah.
And I hope this conversation helped. I hope that you will take it and use it to what was meant for, not for
anything else.
But I do thank Jared for joining me today. And I just want to say again, if you enjoyed this conversation and you want to see more like this, if you could put the comment more, so that I know that I can find more guests or even have Jared again on a different topic.
Yeah.
And we'll do more shows like that. If you enjoyed it, also subscribe, share it with a friend who you're miscommunicating with. Maybe it'll help you out a little bit there, and you don't have to say the hard parts because we did it for you. And from now, I'm going to go ahead and go, and I am B, and I'll be back to fight one more day with you.
Thanks, guys.